Shay was a successful businesswoman who had it all: a high-paying job, a beautiful home, and a loving family. However, her world was turned upside down when she was wrongfully accused of embezzlement by her company. Despite her claims of innocence, the evidence against her was overwhelming, and Shay found herself standing trial for a crime she did not commit. The court case dragged on for months, and during that time, Shay's mental state began to deteriorate. She was constantly stressed and anxious, unable to sleep or eat properly. Her lawyer tried his best to prove her innocence, but the evidence against her was too strong. In the months leading up to her trial, Shay experienced a series of mental breakdowns. The stress and anxiety of the situation had become too much for her to handle, and she found herself unable to cope with the mounting pressure. It was during one of these breakdowns that Shay made the decision to claim insanity as a defense for the embezzlement charges against her. She hoped that by doing so, she would be able to avoid going to prison and instead be sent to a mental institution for treatment. Unfortunately, this decision would have unintended and disastrous consequences for her mental health in the long run. In the end, Shay was found guilty and sentenced to serve time in a local insane asylum. She couldn't believe what was happening to her. She knew she wasn't crazy, but the crooked staff members at the asylum didn't listen to her protests. They admitted her and began secretly torturing her with shock therapy and other drugs that were forcibly administered. As time passed, Shay began to realize that she wasn't the only one who had been wrongfully admitted to the asylum. She met others who had been driven crazy by the torture and mistreatment they had received while they were there. Shay knew she had to escape, but it wouldn't be easy. One day, when the guards were distracted, Shay seized her chance and made a run for it. She ran down the hall, searching for a way out. But just as she was about to make it to the exit, a doctor appeared in front of her, blocking her path. "Stop right there!" the doctor shouted. "You can't escape from here. You belong here." Shay grabbed a sharpened pencil that was lying on a nearby table and held it up to the doctor's throat. "Let me go, or I'll kill you," she threatened. The doctor didn't seem fazed by Shay's threat. In fact, he laughed. "You think you can intimidate me with that? You're just a crazy woman. You don't know what you're doing." Shay couldn't believe it. How could they do this to her? How could they drive her to the brink of insanity and then laugh at her? In that moment, Shay's mind snapped, and she launched herself at the doctor with the pencil in her hand. The last thing Shay remembered was waking up in a white room, surrounded by doctors who were all laughing and pointing at her. She realized then that she had never really escaped. It had all been a hallucination, a figment of her tortured mind.